Hello, guys. You are welcome to today's edition of the Chris Ehato Show, a show that focuses on real estate and education. My names are Ehato Christian Usaze, your host. Briefly, now on this show, we talk about growth mindsets. On this show, we focus on growth mindsets. Today, let us briefly talk about the difference between education as a right and education as a privilege. There are people that say that education is purely 100% the right of every child. They have their points. I don't argue with them. This is not a channel to debate on education as being the right, the God-given right of every child born under heaven. But then there are also those that says that no, education is not just a right, education is a privilege. So they hold the view that education is 100% a privilege and should never be considered the right of every child. Whatever side of the divide you belong to, either you believe that education is 100% the right of every child and that the government should be responsible for the education of every child in their country, or you believe that education is a privilege, whatever side you belong to. This is my take. Education is obviously a very powerful weapon for growth mindset. Education is a tool, if you have it, that you can use to advance yourself, to move from point A to point B. Education is a tool that you can use to grow your mind. Education is a tool that you can use to build yourself as an individual, as a member of a group, or as a professional. Whatever side you belong to, this is my clean side. Education is a right, education is a privilege. Education is 100% the right of every child. Every child deserves the right to a functional, proper education. I also believe that education is equally 100% pure privilege. Now, this is what I mean. Education is the right of every child because everyone that God has brought to this world, God actually said in His word, He said, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Why could God tell us to train a child if education is not the right of that child? Yes, there are parents who don't have money to train their children, but that does not mean the children do not deserve the right to go to school. If there are parents who cannot do that, there are children who from primary, secondary, and tertiary university level, all through their lives, they had access to scholarship. Scholarship. Okay. Now, I also believe that education is a privilege. This is what I mean. If you have a child who is brilliant, okay, and there is education, government have made education available for that child, but that child does not have transport or uniform. You may give you, schools may give you, or government may give you um, basic scholarship to cover tuition, but not feeding, okay, not accommodation, okay. So if the parents do not have the money to pay for that which is not free, because tuition is free, but feeding, books, money for books, transportation to go to school, or money to pay for boarders. If the parents don't have that money, then they will not have the privilege to go to school. Even though education is the right and government has made tuition free, but if they don't have transport to go to school, they don't have money for textbooks, they don't have money for textbooks, man, those children will not have access to the education that has been made free for them. So, um, yes, there is poverty in the land, and many parents are not able to send their children to good schools. What is the definition of what a good school is? I mean, there are schools that may not appear to be good, but the standard of it, the education they provide for the students there are top notch. All right. Um, the schools, there's hardly any school that have it all wrong. They may have it wrong here, but they get it right elsewhere. So, but that's what we're talking about today. What we're talking about is that, is education the right of every child? Yes. Is education a privilege for every child? Yes. How? When the parents cannot afford it. That's where the issue of thinking, that's where the issue of thoughts, the issue of words, the issue of action, the issues of habits, character comes in. Okay? There are children who are brilliant, but their parents have terrible characters. There's nothing good, just people look at them and they don't desire to help them. Why? Because you can't have parents who believe that education is not good for female child, for instance. Why should you give education? Why should you make the scarce resource for education, you know, available to people who don't believe that children or like girls should go to school? There are parents who don't believe in girls' education. There are parents who don't even believe in boys' education, that boys should go to farm and girls should marry early. No. Every child have the right to primary, secondary, university, even if they desire masters or PhD. Every child has that God-given right to get all forms of education at the highest level possible, from the basic to the topmost. Okay? So now, but my take, like I've said, is that education is 100% the right of every child, and education is 100% the privilege for every child. Every parent must do everything possible to make sure that their children are properly educated. Train up a child in the way he should go, not in the way you want them to go. So don't tell me there's no money to take care of your children. Don't tell me there's no money to train your children. Don't tell me there's no money to educate your children. When you deny them education, you deny them power, the power to become something to the future, the power to become blessings and benefits to people. So do everything possible to make sure that your child enjoys 100% education as a right and 100% education as a privilege. God bless you. My name is once more Aekato Christian Osaze. To enjoy more content like this, I encourage you to subscribe, to follow us, to share this video. Share this video in every channel, share this video in every platform, that where this video is shareable. Share it. God bless you. Thank you. Next time, see you, and we'll have more to talk about growth mindset. Bye.